I started thinking about sailing around the world, and fell in love with like wooden boats. Started looking for boats for sale, driving Tom nuts, because I looked at all these like crazy projects for like 3 years, and then I came across Sululu. I showed Tom, and I was like, "We gotta buy this boat. This is the one. You know, we have to buy it." And he agreed. I was actually shocked, because normally he just says, "Oh, that's ridiculous. Stop being crazy." It's all worn out, but you can see the boat here, and then these are the sails. So this is the general. This gives you the heights and the mast. Laurent Giles.
You need to try and fold these the way they were, because they're pretty knackered already.
We found them in the bottom of the boat in a folder that was just completely everything in the boat when we bought it. It had so much rainwater and water ingress because he didn't have any tarps over it. The whole interior was rotted out, and you'd find cool stuff, but it was full of mold. When we first bought the boat, sort of just introduced it of like bit of touch up, you know, little patch here, little patch there. Sort of eased him into it a bit, and as he came down, it's like as it ended up getting more and more ripped apart in this huge project.
This is what it looks like. So there is no deck. These are my knees. I don't even dare turn round.
So to start with, things like this, just little chips, etc., might appear disastrous. Oh no, I've broken it! And then ended up seeing the scale of things we needed to fix and change anyway.
Eventually, as things progress and you show him you can do stuff, he got on board with it. But if you load it all to him at once, he would have just been like, "You're a fucking idiot."
It's a beautiful old boat, isn't it?
This is a Laurent Giles. I actually looked, believe it or not, 3 years to find this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So it's a particular boat you were after?
Yeah, something that you can sail around the world and feel safe in. This one was built for South Africa, so it's been around the Horn a couple times.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's built. It's a one-off. So it's a Laurent Giles, but it was built for a gentleman, just one-off design. This was sailed around the Med for 11 years. The guy lived on it, and then in 2007 they brought it to Guig, and he got too old to maintain it.
Yeah.
And then it was going cheap, and that's why I got it.
And you've done this before?
Never. Just watch YouTube. Rain has minerals and stuff. You'll get funguses and molds, and it's got bacteria and things that eat wood, whereas seawater is full of salt and it pickles it. Basically pickles the wood. So in salt water, wooden boats are very happy, but as soon as you bring them out and get them full of rainwater, they're not happy at all.
It's unclear what happened when, because it was on land, subject to rain, for 10 years.
I think it had problems, and I think it was time for it to come out of the water and get retrofitted, but they just escalated as soon as he put it on land and left it.
That's not an actually usable chisel you're using there, is it?
It's a screwdriver chisel. It's really hard to force yourself to come here every day, especially after work. You have to get that routine set first. So I would come here and just do little tiny bits, maybe an hour, and try to build up. And now every day after work, I got that routine set every day, and then you start getting loads done. So that's the curve. So that's what we're gonna make our jig. If I didn't have Sululu and cool stuff like sailing and living here, it would be so easy to relapse. Because it's like, I'm going to go on a chemical holiday. Why not? Fuck it. It would be a dangerous game. And if it went wrong, which it generally would, then you lose everything. when you got, it's quite bendy, and then you bend it around the jig, and then you clamp it to this, but then this gives you your frame.
One bit that's incredibly well stuck on there is the last. Don't fire the back of it. Yay! There's one little strip. Hey!
Did the whole boat today.
So Troy just asked me what I thought of it. It looks better, doesn't it? I guess in one sense it looks better. Construction project wise. Same time it also looks to me like it might just be on a sandbank revealed by the tide.
Oi! Underneath the boat just had tons of rotted wood, so it was like,
It looked like an absolute mess, didn't it?
yeah,
And
so just a huge clear out. You know, so now we got a nice workspace, starting to look like a proper project instead of a wreck. There was these huge metal diesel tanks, and they were still full of diesel and sludge, and they wouldn't fit because the cabin was still on. And at that stage I thought I was going to try to save part of the cabin, so I didn't want to cut it off. And so I was basically cutting it into small enough sections to throw it out the window. And that was like 2 months of angle grinding and standing in diesel and throwing sparks and listening to locals going, oh, diesel won't ignite.
then the whole cabin roof came off anyway.
Yeah, and then afterwards we decided, oh, you know what, we're going to replace the whole thing, it's rotted out. But as the shipwright said, you have to go through that process.
So this was absolutely foul. So we're at the point where things are starting to be coming back again, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's
we're no longer ripping apart, we're putting in.
not as much.
There.
It's a bit more the other way, this way actually. Tiny bit more there.
There?
I think so.
I feel very lucky. There's a lot of people that don't get to follow their dream or their partner is not behind them. That whole dynamic needs to happen to even make it a reality. One can't just be selfish and do their dream. It has to be a sort of a group dream in a way, and you support each other. And this is the tricky bit, without getting shit everywhere.
Which you did.
Yeah, good thing.
Do you think there's enough left?
Oh yeah. And then when you drill the hole has to be the same size as the shank, and it's just the threads that grab. If you screw it up, you have to wood plug the hole and go somewhere else, which isn't really easy because these are supposed to be in an exact location.
We got everything right.
We'll see if you lined it up.
So that's the way it is it?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, it's disgusting. Look how stringy.
Glad to see you take the ring off.
Oh yeah, forgot.
I was advised by, I can't remember who it was, one of our mutual friends back then, that I'm glad you dig, Troy. You should make sure to enjoy yourself while you can, because when someone's at this sort of stage, they don't tend to last very long. Was what I was advised. I can't remember who by. But yeah.
It was Jeff.
I was going to say, was that Nathan who said that?
It was Jeff.
It was Jeff?
Yeah, it was Jeff. Yeah. Yeah, crack smoking Jeff. Lots of advice. Jeez. So, this is the Carlin that we're going to replace.
The carlins here, which are these bits of wood on which the cabin rests. It needs to be an absolutely precise fit because this is a very structural part of the boat. Once the bend is exact, which it isn't yet.
Yeah, I thought I'd just leave it in this position to train the wood to like this shape,
Yeah.
and then put more clamps on it, and then we'll cut it. No sense rushing it. This is critical to get this length correct.
Yeah, and it's been a lot of work so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, lots of thickness or planing and scarfing and shaping, and when you're bending wood, it can bend, but it can't kink, and it snapped right here. And the horrible thing about it, this was all in and bolted,
Yeah.
and it was looking great. So I had to,
show the new scarf.
so I had to scarf in, so it broke here, so I cut it and did a scarf right here, and this is all a new bit of wood, and now I'm just bending it back in. I'm gonna let it sit for a couple days before I drill it, because it'll be under pressure. At least it'll give it a chance to settle.
Yeah.
But so now I'm gonna start winding it in bit by bit, and I don't want to hear another crack. There we go. It's not going anywhere.
No.
So we'll just leave this for the night, and then I'll come in and crank it in a little more, drill the holes.
And that's when you're doing your full working weeks that you promised that are going to be earning money.
Oh yeah, so I'm not working on the boat tomorrow, I'm earning money.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. When I went to cut in some half frames and do a bit of chiseling, it just snapped. As soon as I did a cut, it just followed along the grain and snapped right in half. And that was a bit soul destroying.
That's kind of expensive too, huh?
Yeah. And it happened twice. Yeah, and so the other side, I actually steamed it, and it went a lot better. If I could get the carlins done and the half beams in, I knew I could do the rest of the boat. That was the hardest bit. I think we've been on it for 2 years now, and I guess John told you that I've broken the back of it, pretty much. It feels good when people say stuff like that, because there's still a lot to do, but it's all the good stuff now. You're just putting all new wood back in, and it's a doable project at this stage. It's not like, oh my God, what the hell is he thinking? I'll give it a bash from this side. Okay. Is it moving?
Might be an optical illusion. I thought I saw some movement to start with, but it's not.
Is it moving at all?
I can't tell, to be honest, Troy.
Okay, I'm gonna drill it out.
Okay, definite movement there. It's wiggling now. Oh.
Was it not lined up?
No. It's out.
Can I see it?
There you go.
That's a rivet. Oh no, it's not. It's just a really fucked up bolt. The DIY aspect of the boat is you gotta have the help, the knowledge, and the enthusiasm. Otherwise, it's such a huge project. I'm lucky my dad was a backyard mechanic. He was a jet mechanic. So I grew up working on cars, welding, doing all sorts. And then my career, I've been an engineer in electrical, and then I got into aircon because I was bored. So I do electrical, mechanical, and I've always had that sort of mind. So I'm bringing all that stuff I've done through my life, and now I've sort of wanted to tackle this, and I've learned a whole new other skill set, which is like making patterns and working with like curved surfaces and building templates and bending wood, steaming wood, how wood grain behaves. So now I'm gonna go use first aid. You won't even see it ever.
No, that's fine. I'm not worried about seeing it. I'm just worried about whether it bolts things in strongly, but it does by the same.
Yeah. And then the wood plug, essentially the same thing. You know, going in about that deep and getting rid of the rotted material. The hole has to be in a location where it will cover.
Is it arguably too thick then to use?
No, because you want. It can't be any thinner because it is a router. You need it as a guide for the router.
But the router bit is not hitting any of that, is it? Because if it did, your line wouldn't work. In other words, if it was able to cut into it, it wouldn't be very accurate, would it? What?
Nothing. Obviously.
The collaborative process.
Time goes really fast, especially when you're older. You blink and it's been 2 years. You can sit around on your ass and the years just speed by, or you can actually do a really cool project, you know, something long term like this, and if you just keep at it every day, eventually you'll have something that's really cool. A lot of these projects, it's a never-ending thing where they just do a bit, leave it, come back, and there's another bit that's rotted. They don't actually work on it long enough to make any progress. They're always stuck at a place because the boat's rotting out faster than they can repair it. You sand it and shape it, and then you caulk it, putty it, and then do the final paint. And that's going to be your job. You're going to be raking out all these seams.
Oh, right, okay.
I got a tool for you. Yeah. And so whenever you feel like, oh, I'm feeling claustrophobic, I want to go to the boatyard, you can just come and rake out seams. You don't even need me to be like...
My mentor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I had no idea that this boat would be the catalyst to suddenly now we live in Cornwall. Total amazing area. We're going to restore this boat and then, you know, eventually, hopefully, sail it to far off places.
Trying to make the most of every day, because we know we're very lucky to still be here. Simple as that. And to just have a bit of health. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow, but it's just great fun to try and go for it now.
Now we both sail the fastest single-handled monohulls. It's a very hard boat to sail. When it's just right, when everything's in place, you're suddenly in this groove and just flying along. And when you start sailing long enough, you get a feel for that groove, just a natural feel for it, and you learn how to keep it there. I was always sort of in danger of relapsing. I was always relapsing and then recovering and relapsing and recovering over years, you know, so sort of balancing on never quite giving up the whole hard drug thing. And then once I got into sailing, it was really easy to stop all that. I always am very focused on my projects. That's why the drugs were so hard. I got pretty damn focused. I'm focusing on positive things, and it's actually working.
And it's so grateful to still be here, frankly. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just nice
Well, there's
to
that
try
as
and
well.
take advantage of. It's like, wow, I'm still alive. I guess I'd learned to accept a significant degree of uncertainty as normal.
when you're holding the main sheet and you're moving the big sail in and out, and you're using the wind to propel yourself forward, it's all quiet apart from just the water splashing and the wind over the sails. It is a very exhilarating feeling, especially when the boat starts planing and you really start getting some speed out of it. I just find it sort of a drug in itself, really.
I saw a guy with a hoodie the other day at Falmouth. It said, "The sea is my grave." I was like, "Oh yeah, I like that." Yeah. The trick is just to make sure you do things right. Go slow. If you have to do it twice, do it twice. If you have to do it 4 times, just make sure it's right. And as you see it come together, and people get surprised when they come by and see that you're making progress, because they see a lot of dead-end projects in this yard, and you can see that they like seeing the ones that succeed, and I want to be one of them. It's a thing of beauty. It's a work of art. All these curved shapes.
And we're trying to make sure it's still a work of art after we finish working on it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I love the positivity. Yeah. Oh, yeah, thank God for yoga, man. I'm telling you, like, restoring a boat when you're 50.